There comes a point in your life where you must stop and ask yourself a very uncomfortable question. Am I thinking for myself, or I have outsourced my entire life to something outside of me? And if you're honest, brutally honest, you may discover the painful truth. You didn't stop dreaming, you just stopped thinking. You didn't lose clarity, you handed your clarity away. You didn't run out of vision, you surrendered it to faith that was never supposed to replace your responsibility in the first place. I've been thinking about this a lot lately, not as a preacher, not as a moral instructor either, but as a human being, as a man on a journey, a man who has made mistakes, a man who has believed the wrong things with a very sincere heart, a man who has used God will do it as an excuse that when I simply did not want to face myself. And I want to speak to you from the deepest part of my heart today, because you cannot become who you were meant to be with a cloudy mind. And nothing fogs the mind faster than outsourcing your life, especially to religion. There was a season of my life where I prayed more than I planned. I fasted more than I thought. I shouted louder more than I studied. I hoped harder more than I executed. And one day, in a moment of absolute emotional honesty, I realized something. I wasn't growing. I was simply escaping. I wasn't walking by faith. I was hiding behind faith. I wasn't believing for a miracle. I was simply avoiding responsibility, and it hit me like a wave. I had given my entire decision-making power to the idea that God will fix it, even when God had already given me the wisdom, the instruction, the sign, and the opportunities to fix it myself. I was outsourcing my life because thinking was uncomfortable. Decision making was kind of heavy. Responsibility required discipline. Clarity, that required confronting things I didn't want to face. So I did what most people would naturally do: hide behind spirituality. I used the scripture like a shield. I used prayer like a delay tactic. I sanctified procrastination and called it faith. And it wasn't until everything around me started breaking: relationships, opportunities, finances, confidence, that I finally heard the truth whispered inside me. Faith without thought is fantasy. Faith without work is wishful thinking. Faith without wisdom is spiritual laziness. That day was a turning point. That day, clarity returned like light through a cracked window. The day I stopped outsourcing my life. And I want the same breakthrough for you. Let's confront something most people are afraid to say out loud. Religion can cloud your judgment. Spiritual culture can confuse your decisions. Faith communities can override your common sense. This is not because religion is bad, and not because spirituality is wrong, but because blind faith is the fastest way to lose clarity. Listen to me, friends. God gave you a mind for a reason. God gave you discernment for a reason. If He wanted you not to think, He would have created robots And God gave you wisdom, intuition, and the ability to think for a reason. But many people don't use these gifts. They replace them with the spiritual language. I am waiting on God. No, you're scared to start. They say God will open the door. No, the door is open. You refuse to walk through it. Somebody say, God will send the right person. No, you keep giving access to the wrong people. And you hear, God will fight for me. No, you're simply avoiding conflict. We seem to have turned faith into a justification for indecision, a cover-up for fear, a shield for emotional immaturity, a license to ignore reality, a spiritual band-aid on practical wounds. And when this happens, your spiritual life stops being a compass, it becomes a fog. Faith was never designed to replace thinking. Faith was designed to strengthen thinking. Let me tell you the truth. When you outsource your thinking, you outsource your future. Some people hand their entire life to a church culture, to a pastor, a prophetic word, a spiritual trend, a God told me feeling that was just emotion, a community that praises dependence over growth. But here's what you must understand, friends. No one can build the life God intended for you except you. Not a church, not a spiritual mentor, not the prayer warriors, and not your family, not even a cultural tribe, and not your childhood belief patterns. God doesn't bless the life you pretend to live or to have. God doesn't reward the thoughts you refuse to think. God doesn't elevate the responsibility you never take. You can be spiritually active and mentally passive and still be stuck. You can pray in the spirit but avoid painful truth. You can worship loudly but think poorly. You can say, let God lead, while ignoring the wisdom He already placed inside you. And nothing keeps a person stagnant faster than spiritual dependence that looks holy but produces no growth. This message today isn't about religion. It's about any identity that clouds your clarity. Because people also outsource their lives to race, to culture, to family expectations, to community pressure, to group think, or even social narratives. And they don't even realize it. If your race decides how high you dream, you're outsourcing for sure. Or if your culture decides who you're allowed to love, you're outsourcing. If your community defines what's possible for you, you're definitely outsourcing. Your identity should be a foundation, not a prison, a source of strength, not a source of limitation, a place of connection, not a place of confinement. So never let a culture, color, a group, a circle, or tradition decide your destiny. You were born into a group, but you were designed to think for yourself. Clarity is not a gift, it's a responsibility. Clarity requires thinking, testing, questioning, reflecting, admitting, unlearning, listening, discerning. Let me tell you something real. God is not intimidated by your questions. Neither is God, and God is not offended by your intelligence. God is not threatened by your curiosity. And God is not disappointed when you seek knowledge. God never asked you to shut down your mind to prove your faith. God never asked you to suspend your judgment to show loyalty. And God never asked you to silence your wisdom to belong. Using your wisdom is obedience. Making decisions is maturity. When you reclaim your mind, you reclaim your life. So today, I want to speak to that part of you that had been quiet for too long. That part that used to think. That part that used to ask questions. That part that used to dream bigger than your environment. That part that wanted more than survival. That part that felt truth even when you couldn't explain it. That part that knew God had given you a mind, not for decoration, but for direction. Stop outsourcing your decisions. Stop outsourcing your intuition. Stop outsourcing your responsibility. Stop outsourcing your destiny. Think again. Discern again. Plan again. Dream again. Decide again. And lead again. Your clarity is waiting for you. Your future is waiting for you. And your life, your very real life, starts the moment you take your mind back. Kindly subscribe to this channel for a journey of growth that is visible. Thank you so much, friends, for your time. Thank you for sharing our videos. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Please, let's have your comments down on this video link. Whether you agree to our thoughts or not, please comment it. Let's share, let's learn together. Thank you so much for your time and do have a great day. Bye for now.